we're all made to be great at something, right? Spend your time figuring out what that is and doing that, right? And being great at that. And like that's where you'll find that Caitlin Clark esque joy, right? Of like, okay. And it's hard because that's, me coming from a perspective of like being a profession, like being in the profession of, basketball, but also being a multi sport athlete and like both of those worlds kind of combining at once, right? Like I didn't play college basketball because I was doing all of the different things, right? And like also realizing that if people are going to invest in the game of basketball and they want to play college basketball, then that almost needs to be a full time thing that they invest in. And it's a really hard balance, when you're trying to do it and find enjoyment in it, but also like if you really want to turn that dream into a goal, then this is what it takes of you.
Yeah.
So,
It's also really hard to think about that as a kid, like the weight of
right.
that decision, like that's a lot of pressure. And like, yeah, man, maybe they're not even thinking about that. Maybe they just love the game but aren't thinking ahead to like, okay, do I want to make a career out of this? Do I want to play this in college? Like it's hard. Like at what age do you have to make that decision? Like that's
Yeah.
tough.
And in what environment do you make that decision, right? Like,
Yeah.
is it the AAU experience where you make that decision? Okay, maybe this isn't the right AAU program for me, or is should our AAU program adjust to being welcoming to all of the different kinds of motivations for basketball, right? Like, and all the different pursuits and mindsets of kids, right? Of kids that are
Yeah.
10 to 15 to 18 years old. So,
I think it's
That's why
just go ahead.
it's such a blessing to be part of the community that we were part of because we got to experience a lot of different sports and find out what we did like and what we didn't like. And it wasn't our parents being like, "Oh, you're going to play football and you're going to like it." Like
yeah,
we got to choose what we wanted to do. Like our passion was decided by like what we wanted to be and what we wanted to play. Like we were put in an environment with some sports we didn't love. Like there were definitely sports that I did not want to play at times, but it was the people around you. And so
yeah.
putting these decisions on a kid based on one sport that they're playing and that they've played their whole life, it's like we got to be a little bit more relaxed and like listen to what these kids are saying. Like let these kids be kids.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it just has to be almost like a funnel as you get older. Like start young, expose yourself to a bunch of different sports, different environments, and see what few loves kind of stick out, and then just narrow your focus into that one or two or three things, like whatever that is for you.
It's not like if they don't decide, they're doomed to fail. Like Brandon was destined for a career in the league if he didn't tear his ACL 3 times. Like you got time to be the best thing that you'll be in the sports that you play will be an additive and help you be stronger in areas that you didn't know that you needed. So it's like specializing at such an early age, yeah, it can be beneficial, but it can be super
Yeah.
detrimental as well. So it's just
But
being smart, I think.
I also come from the perspective of like, if you don't invest in that sport at an early age in today's world,
It's a
you
different
might not
era.
make it, right?
It's a
Like
different era
in
than
the
we were
transfer
kids.
portal era, like it's almost rare to see college coaches at high school games or AAU events now because they know they can get a 22 or 23-year-old kid, and it's hard to balance. I guess the conversation I'm opening is finding the balance between each person and their individual pursuit and what they're capable of doing and all of those things, right? Like, okay, I know, like, Juventus documentary on Netflix, it's about European soccer and how they basically, kids who love soccer and know they're good at soccer are thrown into that environment where they're training with professionals at an early age, at a third to fourth grade. And that's what, and if they want to tap into something else at some point, that's fine, but at least they're not missing that time. And
Yeah.
they're learning from professionals. And it's like, is that something that we should accept in the United States more so
But
or not, and
I
it's hard.
I feel like that comes down to your environment because in that part of the country, like that's it's all soccer. Like
It's all
there's
soccer,
not
right?
it's your environment. So do you truly love it or is that all there is and there's nothing else to
Right.
love? So like in this part of the country, like there's so
To
much other
potentially be good at.
opportunity. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
And is that good or bad? Should there be an avenue for someone that only loves basketball? You know what I mean? I guess
yeah.
these are
There's no
some of the questions I
shortage.
have.
Yeah, there's no shortage of choices, but it's overwhelming. It's a blessing and a
That
curse.